Hi, and welcome to this episode of Conversation with a Chef. I'm Jo Ritty, and I love sharing with you the conversations I get to have with talented and passionate chefs. It's the backstory, if you will, to the food they're putting up. I begin today by acknowledging the Wurundjeri and Bunurong people of the Kulin Nations, traditional custodians of the lands where this conversation took place, land which was never ceded, land where communities came together to eat seasonally, locally, and without exhausting resources. I pay my respects to their elders past and present and to any First Nations people listening today. Cameron Tay-Yap didn't really set out to be a chef. Cooking for his family was initially a way to avoid doing his homework. But in secondary school, he took a chance on hospitality, and a friendly rivalry with a classmate pushed him to take food seriously. That competitive streak led to a stage at Attica and then a job, where he found his rhythm in the high-stakes world of fine dining. Since then, he's travelled and spent time as the head chef at Amaru. But his latest adventure, Pebble at Roca, is something different. What began as a pop-up in a car park has evolved into a space where Cameron can step back, experiment, and bring people together. Though, true to form, his relaxed, in inverted commas, project still involves weekly menu changes and exacting standards. Here, Cameron reflects on his journey, the discipline of top-tier kitchens, and why, after a decade in fine dining, rustic cooking is harder than it looks. Generous with his insights, he shares what the industry has taught him, not just about food, but about patience, compassion, and the kind of leadership that brings out the best in a team. Hi, Cameron, I'm Jo.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
How are you?
Yeah, good. How are you going? You're unloading.
Yeah. I just got here. We got a massive week ahead of us. Well, in just a couple of days.
Yeah.
We got, the same event that I did with Dan.
Yeah.
With someone else tomorrow, so triple fully booked for
That's
76
amazing. So
people
good.
in here.
So good. I feel like every weekend's been massive though, hasn't it?
Yeah, to be honest, yeah. And then on Sunday we got 100 people for an event for lunch.
Yeah. 100, wow. Where they all go?
I don't know. It's supposed to be raining really heavily.
Oh,
on
is
Sunday
it?
too, so,
Okay.
that's always fun. It's always fun figuring it out, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tomorrow's 35 as well.
I know. What a time to be alive.
I know, it just does not get better than this, eh?
Yeah.
We got heaps of events and stuff coming
Yeah.
up. But yeah, do you fancy chatting inside?
Yeah, sure. It's just when you're ready. I can wait if you need to get that stuff out.
Yeah, I've been really listening to quite a lot of podcasts recently. It's
Yeah.
something I love to do, just like as I'm driving.
Yeah.
And some of them are really, really great. And some of them I just start and I'm like, yeah, no, this is not going to happen.
No.
Not captivated by this whatsoever.
That's
The
right.
questions are kind of neither here nor there. You know, you're kind of talking, but not really of anything. And
Yeah,
then,
yeah. Have you got a favourite one at the moment?
I've listened to quite a few recently. One of my favorites there's actually maybe about 5 of them that I kind of keep going back to and I keep listening to over and over. One of them is Gordon Ramsay. He was on a couple. He did one with an Australian, Anthony Huckstep. That was really good. And then he did one with another British interviewer where they were kind of talking about like success and motivation and stuff, and it's quite interesting listening to his background story and everything.
Yeah.
Listen to Curtis Duffy talk about his restaurant in Chicago called Eva, and his sort of background, which is really interesting. It's a really great documentary about him called For Grace, when he was opening a restaurant, and kind of really puts things into perspective. And you know, it's very easy to kind of get into this victim mentality a lot. A lot of people I see, you know, to be honest, Australians in general complain a lot.
Yeah.
You know, they think they've been hard done by everyone. Where in perspective, you know, if you go to literally anywhere else in the world, it's just so much harder. The UK, the US is brutal, you know, like you're working 17, 18-hour days and then go moonlight somewhere else for another 3-4 hours just to make just enough money to pay rent and survive. You know, it's like, whereas here you get your minimum wages so good and we still complain.
Yeah.
So when you listen to a lot of people's stories and the hardships that they've faced, whether it's, you know, this guy Curtis, his father ended up in a murder-suicide where he killed his mother and himself when he was at a young age.
Right.
I think he was like only 14, 15 or something,
Yeah.
16. And seeing people kind of rise above all of the challenges that life throws at you, you know,
Yeah.
really puts things into perspective of how difficult things is.
Yeah.
Same as like Grand Rapids and Alinea in Chicago. You know, it could be at the top of your field and kind of hitting the peak of your career. And then he got mouth cancer. And this was right before chemo had started, so they thought that they were going to have to remove his tongue, most of his mouth, his neck, and just surgically just take everything out. But then chemo was like an experimental thing, so he tried it and it succeeded in removing the cancer, but also stripped him of all of his taste buds. So, you know, like, yeah, life is full of challenges and curves in the road, and you never know what's going to happen, but it's kind of how you maneuver and respond to these challenges, whether you kind of just let these things hit you and you give up and you're just like, well, that's just how it is. But it doesn't have to be. You can write your own story. You can, you know, rise above it, and then from there you kind of go on to inspire more and more people and do your own little bit. But yeah, it's always interesting and always great to listen to other people.
Well, absolutely, because I think when we're all influenced by others, and when you're making your way as whatever field you're doing, hearing what other people have been through and taking bits from, you know, what they've said, or just not feeling alone. It's quite good to hear other people's stories.
Absolutely,
to go, well,
100%.
Yeah.
No, as like, I think it's funny because, like, you know, you had Dan on last. I love Dan. I really love Dan. We have such a strong history, and, you know, we were joking around because he did the collab here. And when we worked together at Attica, I was like 17. I was 17 or 18. My parents came in, my mum and the rest of my family, right? And he was like a sous chef, and he was on the pass, and I was running the pastry section. And he would just come and joke around with me like a big brother all the time. And coming to the end of the night, we were doing the desserts, and we were sending a special VIP dessert. And I'd been practicing all of my quenelles and my rochers to like get them better. And Dan was like, how about you do two and I'll do two, and then we'll go over, we'll take it to your family, and then we'll get them to say which two plates look the best. Obviously, Dan's looked the best because he's way older than I am. But it's a very funny sort of full circle moment having him here and being able to cook with him and everything. And now he's a muscled bodybuilder. And
I know.
It's so crazy.
Yeah.
And being able to... It's actually really weird having all of these people that I kind of looked up to for most of my career. And kind of being like treated like an equal is really strange to me. Like, it's the most bizarre role reversal, and I still kind of can't wrap my head around it completely, and it still feels very strange.
Yeah.
Like, I have this weird sort of imposter syndrome kind of thing.
Yeah, I understand.
You know, like,
when did it start changing, do you think?
it happened very quickly. So it would have been probably when I started at Amaru, which was would have been just over 4 years ago. going into a sous chef and then a head chef role very quickly. Obviously, being a manager, you have to suddenly now become more than just a chef and a cook. You got to be a leader, and you got to inspire a team, and like overnight, suddenly I'm not an apprentice anymore, and you have all of these apprentices. Especially at Amaru, we had a huge portion of our staff being apprentices. They would suddenly come to you and ask for advice over cooking, but also just in general things, how to cope with things.
Wow.
And suddenly, just like that, you're not a mentee anymore, you're a mentor to everyone. And I guess dealing with that was a bit of a shock.
Yeah.
And then it became something that I'm quite passionate about now. Like, especially young people, I find nowadays it's quite rare finding really hardworking, passionate, driven young people. They're just, it's a funny time where everyone is subjected to heaps of influences and they just start confused, and you just have so many options, you just don't know what's happening anymore. So when I do find young people who are really driven and motivated and keen and passionate, I've suddenly now become very passionate about mentoring them and teaching them and kind of giving them all the tools that they can have to be successful. Whether it's there's actually this one kid, his name's Max. He did the first collab here at Pebble, and he was an apprentice of mine at Amaru, and I love his tenacity and his keenness to try things and put himself out there. And I'm happy to meet them in the middle. Like if they want to learn and they want to come to the table and give me their best, and I'll give you all the tools, everything I know. Which to a degree sometimes I feel a little bit jealous of, because I kind of wish that like when I was younger, I didn't necessarily have a head chef who came to all of my pop-ups and helped me with my pop-ups. I was more like, I kind of did it out of spite. I had to be successful purely out of spite, because like hospitality and cooking is not really one of those things that is like a sought after profession in my culture. So it was mostly to like be like, I'll show you, I can do this. This is not like a cop-out profession. This is something I'm passionate about, and I want it to be really like real.
Yep.
So originally when I first started, there was a tenacity to prove everyone wrong. And then, the more you go on, the more you fall in love with it, and the more you kind of just like, I often have the conversation with my wife that if we had $10 million, I wouldn't change anything. I'd still be going into a kitchen, maybe not into a car park, but I'd be in a kitchen running something or opening a restaurant or whatever, but it's not like I would change my profession.
And where do you find compassion for the young people that are coming to you? Because as you were saying, you had to exhibit tenacity, and you almost did it with a bit of with real grit. And perhaps other young people aren't facing those same challenges that perhaps you did. Where do you, because you're still young, so so now that you're in that mentor role, where do you summon up that patience and listening and giving advice?
I'm probably going to get into a lot of trouble later on, but I think that I'm a pretty patient person. Most people would definitely argue against. It's like a 3 strikes and you're out sort of situation, like in the moment we might have a falling out, and I'll let them know that I'm not happy, and then after work or whatever we'll kiss and make up and it'll be fine. Like in the moment it's a very professional thing. It's never really, well, it should never really be quite personal. And that's something that I struggle with. I'm getting better at it, and it's something that I'm sort of improving on myself, but sometimes I struggle to differentiate between professional and personal, because I take my professional so seriously that it's an extension of myself. So
of course,
if you mess up in the workplace, I kind of take that somewhat personally, and I shouldn't, and I'm getting better at it. But the compassion, probably my wife. Because I guess since getting married and since Trish came along, it's probably because of her that I'm a bit nicer now. Also, it comes with age.
Yeah.
You know, it comes with some maturity, and you know, when you lose your temper and you get upset about it, more often than not, the person who's losing their temper you're just losing a lot of energy. Like, you're getting more upset than the person who's really at fault here, and that shows. And end of the day, you know, everyone's in a position that they're in for whatever reason. So this person who might not actually care at all, and you might be yelling at him, suddenly you've now expelled all of this energy and all of this negativity that you're harboring, and this person just doesn't care. So it may just go over their head, and it doesn't matter to them. But obviously now what's happened is you've damaged yourself and also the environment around you.
That's right.
Because everyone else has to be subjected to this in a team, you know. And even though it might not be directed at other people, they're still going to be affected by your actions. If I'm going around slamming fridge doors and banging things, you know, one person might not care, the rest of the people are going to feel really uncomfortable, and it's going to affect their performance and all of this kind of stuff. So yeah, I had this long talk with an old head chef of mine, because I used to be that guy. I used to be an angry little boy who would just get frustrated that other people were not performing to my expectations, and then I would get upset, and then I would start slamming things and get annoyed and take it out on some poor fridge. And then everyone else would feel really on edge and uncomfortable in the workplace and everything like that. And you know, I kind of having that conversation with this guy, I was like, it's actually very true. Like, I'm getting frustrated as someone who actually doesn't really care. So what's the point of getting frustrated with this person? Because no matter what I do or say, they're not going to really care, and that's fine. Like, they don't want to do what I want to do, and then you're just having these pointless conversations, and pointless energy is just being expelled. So that's like something that hit me pretty hard, and from then on a very hard corner was turned, and suddenly I've become a lot more aware of this, of people's capabilities and expectations and what individuals want to get out of experiences and stuff. So,
and as you say, you can't always assume that you know what that person in front of you, where they've come from, and so or they might be presenting as not caring or whatever, but you, why are they presenting like that? So maybe something's happened, whatever. So I think you've got to always, don't you? But it's hard. It's frustrating when it's your great passion, and you also know how things need to be run, and then you've got to negotiate all these other little energies around you.
But it's just like, it's silly to project your own expectations onto other people. Because it's something you can't control. You know, so coming back to the compassion part, whenever I do find anyone who matches my sort of passion and keenness, I have a bit of a soft spot for that, and probably also my wife brings that out of me, and now I really enjoy sort of mentoring and guiding a lot of young people, because I love this industry. I'd like to see it, you know, continue to be great, and that only can be sort of continued if you have another generation and more young people sort of put in the time and effort and love into it. But sometimes.
I mean, I'm sure there's more people like you that do want to put the time and effort in. I often have this conversation, and it's a difficult conversation to have because of the like the wage stuff and out limits of hours and all that kind of thing. But to become really good at anything, whether it's bouldering or chefing or whatever, you've got to put the time in.
That's right.
And then it's, there's that balance between being paid for that and doing it because you love it and you just want to improve and do the best that you can.
Correct.
It's tricky.
There's no shortcut, in anything.
No.
Sports, anything. I still love sports and I used to be quite competitive and stuff, but, to become good at anything, you just got to put in the hours, the hard work, especially earlier on, like you say, I am quite young. I don't think so. I think I'm somewhat older now.
I'm just really old. That's all.
My wife is 9 years older than me, and whenever I call myself old, she looks at me with the most evil eye. I feel old, but putting in the hours when I was younger, when I was 17 and 18 and 19, 20, not really looking at how much I was getting paid, but just kind of mindlessly just clocking in and learning and soaking it all in as much as you can, traveling and no savings, just putting it all out there.
Amazing.
And now, I'm pretty fortunate, I'm pretty lucky to be in a position that I'm in and given the opportunities that I've been given. So it's definitely a little bit of luck that comes with it.
Oh,
but
I don't know. You've put in a lot of hard work. But tell me about 17-year-old you, because I've read the story of you dropping out of culinary school and knocking on the door of Attica. But how are you even at culinary school at 17? Did you always know you wanted to be a chef?
No. So I went to Melbourne High, and it was probably when I was about 15, 16, that year 10, year 11, year 12, that I kind of really started. I had kind of two choices. I was enjoying cooking at home because it means I didn't have to do my homework. I was helping out, and I was like, oh no, I'm helping out. I'll cook dinner tonight. Don't worry about it. And we had a big household, me, my mum, my brother. We'd have homestays, so sometimes we had 10 people staying in our house at once. And we were frugal. We weren't it's not like we went out to eat very often or anything, and a way that we would celebrate, we would just cook at home. So I would bake cakes and I would cook at home, and that way everyone could still celebrate at home. And I enjoyed it, I really did. But I was in Melbourne High and I wanted to do vet hospitality. It wasn't held in Melbourne High, so we had to go off to another school. It was Melbourne Girls College. There was this one kid, Max, who also did it, and there was only 3 of us from Melbourne High who went to do this subject. Max's whole family were really into fine dining and eating out and stuff, and I remember sitting in the orientation, and Max's dad was showing my mom all of these things that Max had cooked, and they were all recipes from the Key cookbook, or from sepia and stuff like that. And my mom would show Max's dad the banana bread that I made, and I was like, oh, it looked, obviously it looked very different, and I was kind of, I wouldn't say embarrassed, but it was just something that I'd never seen before, never had been introduced to that idea of food being more than just sustenance and nutrition or anything like that. It was an artistic form. I was like, oh, that's cool. And we did this subject, and Max would always top the class, but really effortlessly, to the point where it was actually really frustrating, because I started to try because I actually really enjoyed it. So I tried harder, and he would still beat me, and he would come up with these dishes and these recipes that were just amazing. He was just very naturally talented. And it used to piss me off so much. And then one day in year 12, one of our assignments was to come back and cook a 3-course meal of our own choosing, whatever. And I started making these things without a recipe, without following a cookbook, and I was like, oh, this will work and whatever. I was trying out all these things. And I beat Max. I got on top of the class, and I was like, hot damn, this feels really good.
Yeah.
I really like this winning thing, and I'm very competitive, so I was like, oh yeah, I could get used to this. This is something I might actually become good at, and then I kind of put all my eggs into that basket to my mum's sort of chagrin. She was not super pleased at that point, but you know, that's where that determination to prove her wrong came from. And then my mom was always like, look, if you go into law, I'm going to help you pay some of your uni fees.
Yeah.
If you go into this cooking thing, that's on you. You're going to have to pay your way. I was like, I'm not scared. I'll do it. Fine.
Yeah.
So, you know, I was picking up casual jobs in kitchens and stuff. And then I was working in this pastry manufacturing place called Sweet by Nature. Saved up enough money to pay for my TAFE tuition. Went to that. Thought it was interesting. It was cool. But then over the summer break, I applied for an internship or a stage at Attica. Back then they used to do stages, and went there. And it was a huge culture shock going to this kitchen full of grown-ups, and it's very intense, and you know, it's just like how you imagine kitchens to operate. It's intense, it's fast-paced, it's, you know, you're always going, you're always doing stuff. Someone's always kind of in the shit, and you're always like kind of swimming to get on top. And I like instantly fell in love with it. I was like, this is amazing. This is exactly what I want. It's fast, I'm doing stuff all the time. You know, I think on Dan's podcast he talked about how, you know, you had to be a little bit humble, and he was experienced, but he was still washing cabbages.
Yeah.
It's bullshit. I was washing his cabbages for him. Oh, you weren't like that very much. But yeah, it was
just blown up the myth.
That's it. It's all part of the story. But maybe before I came along, maybe he was washing his cabbage.
Right, yeah.
But I remember, this cabbage, there was this cabbage bolognese, and, you know, you had these cabbage leaves, the outsides, which were just always covered in mud. And I would wash them, and I would, like, polish these leaves with this chux cloth. And I would bring them back, and it was Jay or Dan, and they would be like, it's not clean enough. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. I spent like 10 minutes washing one cabbage leaf. And, you know, you're just operating at this intensely high level, and the expectations were, you know, so high that you had to turn up, and every day was the Super Bowl, every day was a grand final.
Yeah.
And, you know, you have to put that into perspective, because at a restaurant like Attica, where you're paying, I think it's $3.85 now, you know, you might be having a bad day, and you're human, like, that's totally fine. But at the same time, it's totally not fine, because there's like a person out there who's spent all of this money to invest their time, their money, and also they could have been on a wait list. It could have been, you know, waiting for this event to happen 3 months in advance.
Special occasion.
Exactly.
Whatever,
It could be an anniversary. It could be celebrating an engagement, birthday, whatever. And it's that night. And they don't really care if you've had a bad day. Like, you just have to turn up and perform all the time. And you're just on show all the time. And that level of, like, onness is something I loved. I love turning up and just having to be on.
Yeah.
You know, and then I guess from there carry on that expectation to everyone else. And
Well, it's a discipline too, isn't it? And there's something
is.
really comforting about the boundaries of discipline, so that, you know, as you say, you have to be on. So, you know, when you go into that space, this is what you're doing, and everything else doesn't matter. And I think it's a good place to be. If you
great.
If you can get to that place to be able to switch off, I think.
100%. And, you know, like, everyone's human. We're not robots, and that can be quite challenging.
Yeah.
but I've always seen it as sort of like a team sport.
Yeah.
You know, like whether you play basketball or anything else, you know, if you turn up and you don't perform, someone else has to pick up that slack. So you're kind of held accountable by your peers as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so after my summer internship, I went back to TAFE and I was like, oh man, this sucks. You know, sitting in a classroom and we were going around, and TAFE is a funny place where you get a very wide mix of people. And I was sitting in this classroom and we're talking about seafood, and they're going around the room asking people to list different seafoods. And someone said crab, someone said blue swimmer crab, and then one person was like, no, we already said crab. It was like, oh, there's more than one type of crab. And I like, and this person, I was like, oh my god, this is just ridiculous. So I was pretty lucky to be able to go back to Attica and, you know, keep the internship going on. And I would go to school just to do my assessments like once a year. I was very lucky that there was a coordinator or a teacher who was very supportive of me to do all of these things. So he kind of just let me not turn up to class and just do assessments.
Yeah.
And kind of fast-tracked everything, which was good. But yeah, and then after that, eventually I got a job at Attica. And
is that where you learned or maybe cultivated a love for foraging?
At Attica?
Yeah.
I guess I was exposed to it at Attica a lot, especially at the start when they used to have a heap of space at the Ripponlea Gardens.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I fell in love with the idea of foraging straight away, but, you know, kind of treated everything as a learning experience, whether I had to, you know, go to the garden every day with everyone and pick herbs and stuff. And it's a drab job. Like, you have to just turn up and pick herbs and then portion herbs. And there was one dish that just had like 30 different herbs in it. And every day I would have to portion out all the herbs and flowers into these little molds. And I would have to take them to maybe Dan or Jay or Matt, and they would go through everything and make sure that you had 30 different herbs in there, and they would check everything. And it's quite menial work, and
I don't think I could even name 30 herbs, to be honest. That's
yeah,
amazing.
it's not fun. So a lot of the time, you know, you go into a lot of restaurants and there are some crap jobs to do. You know?
Yeah.
But that's just the realisticness of it. There's always going to be crap jobs to do. You can stand there and take 6 hours to portion these herbs, which a lot of people did, but it's the most pointless thing. If you just like, right, well, we got to do this. There's no point me standing here for 6 hours portioning herbs and not really learning much. So I would get faster and faster at them. At the same time, you know, you would start learning about, unconsciously, you learn about the seasonality of herbs and flowers, and you would, you know, pick up all of this information and learn how to identify lots of different ingredients. So I actually look back on it quite often and I'm like, I was lucky, you know, because I get to look at, you know, item lists now and I see things, and whenever we're coming up with dishes, I'd be like, oh, this will definitely be in season right now and it's probably growing around here and here, and we could definitely pick that. We can use this as a garnish, and, you know, your bank of knowledge is just increased just by a change of attitude. Like,
yeah, that's right.
It just depends on how you look at it at a task. You can look at it as, what a shitty job putting flowers into pots, or you could look at it like as a learning experience of how come the flowers today are not looking so good in the middle of summer, what's happening to these different plants and stuff, and you just come to the table with more knowledge and experience down the road, just by changing the way that you see things, just a little bit. But
so in those early days, you're obviously wanting to do really what you want to do well, because you wanted to show your mum and everyone that that it was a good choice. But Were you always thinking like I'm going to be head chef of a 3-hat restaurant, or I'm going to be young chef of the year? Are they things that you aspired to, or?
I've always been extremely goal orientated.
Yeah.
Whether it was in high school, we went to the Melbourne High speech night when I was in year 8, and we saw, all of the kids going up for different duxes and everything. And I said to my mum, I was like, by the time I graduate, I want to be collecting a ducks. I did. I flunked out of a lot of other things. Like, I didn't do well in English or anything, but the subjects that I did end up enjoying, I put all of my eggs into that one basket. And, I went up and I collected a ducks for hospitality and for sports and Viscom and everything like that. And I was always sort of like, okay, we're going to do this, but what I want to achieve out of this experience is this or this or this. So starting at Attica, I was like, firstly, I wanted to be a paid chef. So at the time, there was lots of stages and people from around the world who came to do different experiences and whatever. I wanted to kind of get on top of all of them and be a permanent staff member. So that was my first goal. And then from there, I was like, okay, I want to get into a management position. So eventually, I think I was about 20 or 21 maybe. I got a junior sous role. And then from there, I was like, all right, I want to get a dish on the menu. So started working on lots of dishes and started doing lots of research and development and all of this stuff for the menu. And eventually, I got a couple of dishes on. Then I was like, okay, well, I feel like I should, travel. I felt like almost, I wouldn't say stagnant, but I felt like very, my confidence in myself was strong in this one place, but I wasn't sure if I would be good in a different kitchen or a different restaurant.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I want to go somewhere else. So I wanted to travel. I went to Europe and did some traveling and did some work experience at by classmate, which was like the opposite of Attica. Attica was a very, we spoke about the food as being almost like a showcase of what Australia has to offer. And going into core, all the dishes were very meticulously sort of thought out, and there were many elements and different components to a dish, and it was supposed to like work quite harmoniously to create a piece. And so Claire is used to be Gordon Ramsay's executive chef for 12 years, so it was a very intense kitchen. It was a 3 Michelin-starred kitchen, and it was intense. It was turning up at 6:30 in the morning. And we would finish at midnight, 1 a.m. every day. It would be intense, and it was cutthroat. It was like really ruthless, and we were just everyone was just pushing so hard to make sure that we hit that goal of being ready for service. And it was immaculate. It was a beautiful, beautiful kitchen. Like every day the entire team would stop at I think it was 10 a.m. right before 12, and then again at 3:30 or 4, and completely deep clean the kitchen, all of the crevices, all of the skirting boards, everything. The glass would be polished multiple times because it was completely on show, and you could eat off the floor. It was
Muck in the beer.
Literally. On Saturday nights we would be there until 4 a.m. scrubbing down, pulling the fridges apart, cleaning the wheels of the fridges, cleaning everything.
Wow.
We would go through and literally scrub the ceiling all the way down to the floor. Under the tables, everything. It was always impeccable. And you take that as a learning experience. It was very disciplined, and you take a lot out of it. There was a lot that I really enjoyed, a lot that I thought was like, oh, this is okay. But then, you take that experience and you apply it to whatever you want. And no place is perfect, and eventually you kind of, in your own brain and through many experiences, you figure out what's perfect for you. And then other people will come, decide that's not perfect for them, and then they'll go off and do their own thing.
Yeah.
The experience was amazing, and after that, I ran out of money and I came home and
Yeah.
had to do a bunch of other stuff, and eventually found my way into Amaru, and then after Amaru, into a car park.
I know, so there's a few things.
We skipped over a couple of things.
There's a few things. When I was reading about you, I did read that initially that perhaps your parents were a bit worried about their experience of people cooking, and your culture was maybe hawker-style food.
That's
and
right.
that people were really struggling every day to sell enough food, whatever. And then I did like that you did then classified this as hawker-style.
What a funny full circle moment,
right. Yeah.
And my mum comes quite often.
But yours is like fine dining hawker style. No?
I went in with the full intention of making it as like rustic but it turns out 10 years of fine dining. Eventually I've got heaps and heaps of plates. I'm like, let's do.
And you change the menu every 2 weeks.
We change the menu every 2 weeks. We've had collabs every other week, so it's basically a new menu every week.
Yeah.
It's pretty full on. Changing the menu every week.
Absolutely.
It's pretty full on.
And so then I read that it was going to be 4 months, but is it?
Yeah, we extended it by another 2 months.
Okay,
so we finish
People
4th of
be
May
devastated.
will be our last service.
Oh, Star Wars Day. Yeah, May the 4th.
That's so funny. Our staff member Zach is like the biggest Star Wars nerd. He's just turned up now, and he's so into film. And whenever we prep, we got like a film going on in the background.
Nice.
He will like glue his eyes to the TV and not like you'll see him, and instead of cracking 13 eggs, he'll crack like 26 eggs and mess something up. But he's a funny boy. I love him.
The other thing I read was that this was going to be a bit of a step back and a more relaxed thing after the intensity.
It's definitely not.
No.
I came in with some very holistic intentions. But I definitely didn't account for my personality to change everything. Like it is in some ways, it is more relaxed. Like let's say the expectations of people coming here and the way that we operate is a little bit more sort of like inverted commas, like laid back. Like I'm wearing flip-flops and shorts to work and whatever. Like.
And it is a car park.
Yeah, exactly. It is a car park, so there's been a lot of compromises on different things, and it is in some ways laid back. In some ways it's not laid back because we don't have walls or we don't have a ceiling, and when it's raining and when it's
what a challenge.
37 degrees tomorrow, it's going to be hot, and it's still challenging, and it's like no matter what, it was going to be challenging. But just the approach.
Can you enjoy it?
Me?
Yeah.
I love it. I have a great time.
Good.
I enjoy doing this because you're really cutting out a lot of steps, and it's like a very holistic approach to the whole thing. It's very stripped back. It's like, okay, let's just cook some yummy food. Now it's on plates. Before it wasn't on plates. It was in boxes and it was in, takeaway containers and stuff. But it was like, look, there's a great community here. Let's create a space for them to hang out, give them some food, and let's build this community. Let's keep growing it. Let's just enjoy the summer and everything. And then I decided, okay, let's do some collabs because I love doing pop-ups.
No, it's had amazing people. We were talking about before, but it's like,
So we started doing the pop-ups, and then I was like, okay, great, I can do this pop-up down in Mornington as well, which is amazing. I think it's just funny because like I've always done pop-ups since I was my first one when I was like fresh 18-year-old.
Really?
Yeah, I've always at Attica I was doing like 3, maybe 4 pop-ups a year, and then I kept doing them Then at Amaru, maybe I did a little bit less.
Yeah.
Just had a bit less time. But I'd still do like one pop-up, maybe 2 collabs.
Do you document all that? It'd make a great book.
It would make a great book. I'm a terrible writer. I've always pondered the idea of writing a book, but linguistically, I'm not great.
But where do you keep all your menus and your ideas?
I do. There's
Yeah.
a little folder at home stashed away. And I go back on them sometimes and I'm like, oh my God, what idiot created this menu? This is horrible.
Oh.
And I look back at like the first pop-up I did and I have a very strong recollection of that night. I'm like, oh my God, how dreadful. And every time we've done another pop-up, it grows, it gets a bit better.
Of course.
We keep adding to it, we keep buying more and more plates. Like we got a gazillion plates now. My wife hates it. And they take up so much space.
Yeah.
And we keep adding things, napkins, cutlery, glasses. Basically, I have a storage room full of everything to open a restaurant.
Yeah.
But we don't have a restaurant.
Yeah.
We have a car park now, so a lot of it's here. But yeah, you learn a lot very, very quickly.
Yeah.
You learn the business acumen side of things. You learn managing people, paying for things. You learn about the front of house side of things as well. And by doing all of these things, obviously it's like your own money and your own investment. So if it fails, you feel it. If it's successful, you feel it. But yeah, now we've got a 6-month pop-up and pop-ups within a pop-up. And
I know, it's amazing.
It's.
Do you think you'd like a bricks and mortar?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. And that's the goal. And that's always been the goal, is to get to a position where I can open up my own place. And we're close. We're definitely coming to that point where it's a very prevalent thought that I think about quite often. And the only thing is, obviously now you look at things not just about the cooking, not just about the food side of things, but you're looking at the business side of things. And Melbourne is an amazing city, but at the same time, it's scary out there right now. There's places opening and closing like no tomorrow, and it's quite exhausting keeping up with all of it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of changes in work culture, changes in the way that people are prioritizing things, the way that people enjoy their time, the way that people want to have their dining experience has changed.
Yeah.
When I first started at Attica, it was like almost 10 years ago, and people would love having a 6-hour meal.
Yeah.
Nowadays, if you go over 2.5 hours, people are bored. They want to get out. They want to, go to do the next thing and everything like that.
That's right.
So the experience has changed. The way that people see dining and restaurants has changed, and it's always changing. The way people want to spend their money has changed. So kind of looking at that is like where we're at, where we're like, what exactly do we need to do for this restaurant to be successful? Do we open a fine dining restaurant or a bistro or a cafe or a bar, or what is it that people exactly want to do? Because no matter how passionate you are about one thing, you can't force it down people's throat.
No.
You gotta still, to a degree, kind of learn from the market and then acclimatize yourself to that.
I guess what you've done is a bit like when you scale a climbing wall, bear with me, because I feel like, there's the poetry of the wall, right? Because you're thinking about all the parts of your body and there's a flow when you're climbing. But you're looking about what's the next bit, but where are you going to put your foot next, where are you going to put your hand next? Can you jump and can you jump a few steps and go higher, and that's a really big risk and you might fall. But I feel like you put in those steps of the pop-ups and the different things, and some spicy little shapes along the way.
Look, anything in life is always going to be a little bit scary, making that jump, going for that promotion, going into the unknown. It's always scary, because nothing is guaranteed. Success is not guaranteed. So It is scary. It is scary. There's no doubt about it. It's terrifying, actually. But, you know, that's part of life. It's to, you know, take that step of faith and wander into the unknown.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. All you can do is persevere, push through the hard times, and hopefully come out on top. A lot of grit. And I guess what I've been doing this whole time, nothing's going to change. I am who I am. I'm always going to bite off more than I can chew, and I'm always going to do something silly that is extremely risky, but we'll come out okay at the end of it. You know, Australia's an amazing place. There's always opportunity for the people to be successful here. You know, like, it's okay. Like, everything's going to be all right. I'm not sure if I'm telling you or if I'm telling myself right now. A bit of both, really.
Yeah.
But, you know, like, look, if we can figure out 6 months in a car park with a horrible summer that was up and down, flooding,
I know.
sideways rain,
Heat.
Heat waves, 40-degree days, thunderstorms. Look, if we can maneuver that, we can figure it out next. It'll be easier when you have walls and a roof and a whole team.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it'll be easier. I mean, maybe, we'll see.
Yeah.
But
thank you. I feel like I need to leave you to get ready for all these hundreds of people that are going to descend on you.
We're chilling. We're okay today.
Good.
But yeah, look, things are going to happen, and it's just like, you just got to brush it off and acclimatize, change, duck and weave, you know, just go with the flow of things. Just learn to dance in the rain of everything. You know, it's pretty crazy out there, but that's okay. It'll be fine.
Thank you. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Conversation with a Chef with Cameron Tay-Yap at Pebble at La Roca. You can check out all his car park goodness on Instagram at pebble.at.laroca. That's LAROCA. He's there until the 4th of May. As for me, I'm on Instagram at Conversation with a Chef. And if you'd like to read other chats, you can check out the website www.conversationwithachef.com and become a subscriber. I would absolutely love it if you told a friend about the chats, and of course you can click follow on Apple Podcasts or Spotify so I know you're there. Once again, thanks so much for listening. Have a great day and bon appetit.